Peace and greetings. This is Artis, and this is the Artis Smith Yoga podcast. So getting into reaching towards the core, reaching towards the foundation of yoga. There's a lot of different things going on, right, in the yoga community. A lot of different types of yoga, a lot of different thoughts and ideas, colonization, decolonization. There's been, a lot of inappropriate behavior, all these kind of things going on in yoga. There's a system that is extremely simple, um, that I developed for myself, and it's worked for me for years. And I share it with people when I teach my classes. And it's three components that you need to focus on. And in focusing on these three main components of the practice, it will open up the door to everything else. It will open up the door to whatever it is that you are supposed to be doing on this planet, right? It opens up the door to getting in contact with your higher self. Okay, these three components, and it's very simple. However, it's difficult to develop the discipline because discipline is one of the major things you want to take into consideration when you're talking about your spiritual practice, when you're talking about your sadhana, when you're talking about clearing away all of the other distractions that are going on to get to the root of yoga, to understand what yoga really is, right? So here are the three things. The three things are: the first is the breath, the second one is movement, moving your body, and the third one is meditation, sitting down in a comfortable seat and meditating for a period of time. It seems very simple, right? However, again, creating and setting up the discipline and moving forward with the discipline can be the hardest part, right? There is an idea of living in the moment. Santosha means contentment. Living, you want to live, be content with what's going on with you right now. Living in the moment. Okay? And we do that by understanding our place. Okay, this is where I am right now. I'm okay with this because I plan on doing this in the future. But you don't live in the future, you live in the present, but you know what your plans are. You've laid things out. So it allows you to be comfortable in the present. Okay? So when you incorporate these three things, it's going to help all of that come together. So, what are we talking about? We're talking about breath, we're talking about movement, and we're talking about meditation. The breath, also known as pranayama. Okay? Now, the breath is one of the gateways to gaining control of your mind. Gaining control of your mind. The breath is an excellent tool for this because the breath directly relates to our energy. We can control our energy through our breath, through pranayama, through doing breath work or energy work, because prana means energy. So you're doing energy work. And the one way we can connect immediately with our energy is through our breath. Anyone who's ever gotten upset knows that the breath, right? When you get upset, your breath gets a little fast. It gets heavier. It gets more intense. The way you stop yourself from getting too angry or calming yourself down is to first, number one, the breath. You know, I know a lot of folks, I've done it myself. When I would get extremely angry in the past, I would Okay, let me take a minute. Let me take a few deep breaths, right? You take a few deep breaths and you're like, okay, and you start to calm down. Okay, that's you gaining control of your energy. That's you doing pranayama. So you don't necessarily have to be sitting down in a yogic position and doing some specific type of pranayama in order to get the benefit. Simply bringing your focus, attention, and awareness to your breath and calming it down. That's pranayama. That's pranayama, right? So the breath, directly connecting with the energy, is going to get us to a state where we're ready to get involved with some movement. Okay, so what is the movement? There's debate on movement. Okay, you have a million and one different types of sequences out there. There are so many different yoga sequences. It's, you know what I mean? It can be overwhelming, but it's also a benefit because you have so many different things to get information from. Here's my recommendation, okay? Here's my recommendation when it comes to working with asana, when it comes to working on and developing your own personal practice. Start with something very simple. Start with the sun salutations, okay? Start with the sun salutations. Surya Namaskar A, Surya Namaskar B, the sun salutations. If you're not familiar with those, you can check out my YouTube channel, and I have a demonstration of the sun salutations, or you can just Google sun salutations and it'll show you. Start there. Start with a daily routine of the sun salutations, and then make your way into some standing postures. You know, I highly recommend that you go to a yoga studio, right? Now, the type of class that you take at the yoga studio, okay, so you want to go to a beginner class. If you've never done yoga before, if you're kind of weary about it, you don't know, just go to a beginner class and then um, get an understanding of movement. You know what I mean? And then you can take what you learn from the yoga class that you're going to, and then you can take what you learn from the internet yoga poses that you see. You know what I mean? And put something together. But start with start with the sun salutations. Now, I want to recommend a book. So so this is an excellent book to grab a hold of. This book gives you a detailed. Um, it gives you this book. This book gives you a detailed um, explanation of the primary series of Ashtanga Vinyasa Yoga, and uh, you don't necessarily have to become or necessarily make Ashtanga your practice, but it's a very good guidebook to look at because uh, he has gone into so much detail about how you stand, your breath, um, the transition from one pose to the next. All of that stuff is detailed out. It's an excellent book. Excellent book. So, and I'm not just saying it because I'm in it. So there, the movement. Okay, you've got your movement. So okay, so you've got your movement, and so the last piece is the meditation. Meditation is something that happens. You don't do it. If that makes sense, you don't do it. It's something that happens. It's like going to sleep. It's like, okay, when it's time to go to bed, unless you just pass out, right? For the most part, most of us, we have a thing that we do, right? You um, might quite possibly put on different clothes. You may possibly take a shower first, right? Put on some clean clothes, pull back the covers, get into the bed, get nice and comfortable, lay your head on the pillow, close your eyes, and then drift off to sleep. Okay? The same thing applies with meditation. And you put all of the things in place and then you move into the meditation. Okay? You have done some breath work, you've done some movement, some meditation, you've got everything going and flowing, right? You've, to the best of your ability, stretched and moved your body, right? And then you sit down into that meditative position. You have whatever it is, incense burning, candle, sitting in front of an altar. Your eyes are closed. Your hands are in a specific position, whatever you like. You close your eyes. You say your mantra, and then you eventually, at some point, you drift into the meditation. Meditation is not something that you do. It happens. Looking at your eight limbs of yoga, I always refer back to those, right? Yama niyama, asana, pranayama. Pranayama, breath, pratyahara, sensory withdrawal. Dharana, concentration. Dhyana, meditation. So you move into meditation. It doesn't just happen, right? There's things that have to be set up for the meditation. That's your foundation. That's your foundation. Those three things, right? Focus on your breath, get some movement going, and sit down and meditate. It's very simple. However, again, it's difficult to set up that discipline. So that's what you need to do. You need to find that time, you need to carve that time out, set up that discipline. And then what happens is when you are doing this on a regular basis, you're going to get in touch. You're going to get in tune. And you're going to say, okay, you know what? I want to read this book. I'm going to read this book about yoga. Or I'm going to read this book about whatever religion or spiritual practice that you're interested in. But you got to, and I like to use the word brainwash. It's a kind of a trigger word, I guess, or a phrase rather, brainwashing. But think about it. What do you do when you wash something? You clean it. You're cleaning your mind of all the things that don't go there. It's what you're going to put back in there that makes the difference. When you clear the mind, clean the mind of all the garbage, all the nonsense, what is going back in? What are you putting back in? And moreover, what are you using to clear the mind? Because you could shoot up a bunch of heroin and your mind is clear and you're gone, but is that benefit? Right? What are you using to clear the mind? You use that breath, movement, meditation to clear the mind. It's clean and fresh. What are you putting in? What are you putting in? That's when your higher self, your personality, whoever you are, is going to be drawn to a particular thing, right? So start with that, right? Your breath, movement, meditation. Any questions, comments, or concerns, you know what to do. So until then, my friends, peace.